All right, hello everybody. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, today we're gonna continue on with our idea gen, and we're just gonna pick up where we left off last time. All right, so let's see here. So last time, we got all the way to Ensuiko sugar refinery. So we've done these two. We have not done Ifuji Sanyo yet, I believe. And Ifuji Sanyo is ranked number 3. Based off of rankings, let's take a look at what Ifuji Sanyo offers. So, 19 billion market cap, looks like. Under 6 times EV/EBIT. Ranked 4th in EV/EBIT. 10.8% EBIT margins, nice. 9 times PE. And div yield 2.8 times. Price of book 1.7. Huh, interesting. Okay, let's take a look at it. And this is consumer staples, by the way. Consumer staples. So let's go to our watch list. Yeah. Let me double check that I didn't look at this yet. Shouldn't have. Alright, cool. Okay, let's take a look at the price. The price, has been in a consistent uptrend for the last 3 years. That's nice. 10 years. Oh, it just keeps compounding. 423. Oh, wow. Okay. How about last year? Last year, got impacted a little bit in May. April got impacted quite a bit. 2000 dropped to 1700, instant rebound. So from the lows of 1700 to now, there's a 600 difference, or 30-40% upside since then. Okay, so go at the description. Ifuji Sanyo engages in liquid eggs and related business in Japan. It provides liquid and frozen eggs to confectionery, bread, and frozen food manufacturers. Liquid eggs. Is it like egg whites? Is that how it works? So you don't have to actually like crack open the eggs. You just put in the egg yolk or the egg whites. As well as restaurant industry, the company sells egg-based products such as boiled eggs, chawan mushi bases to the restaurant and delic. I don't know what that means. What is chawan mushi? What does that mean? Oh, chawan mushi is a savory steamed Japanese egg custard with a silky smooth texture and a rich umami flavor. Serve as an appetizer or a side dish. It is made with dashi. Okay, dashi. Japanese soup stock and egg base, seasoned with soy sauce and mirin. Oh, okay, interesting. Oh, it's right here. Okay. Yeah. In addition, engaged in solar power generation business. That's not great. Okay, cool. Take a look at profitability. So EBIT margins have been, so there has been operating leverage, which is good. Seems like it's steadily increasing EBIT margins. SG&A margin went up initially and then went back down, which is good. Increase in all gross profit margin. I guess it went up a lot and then decreased a lot. So interesting. Okay, last 12 months. Let's see how they've done. Okay, so this is consistent improvement in operating leverage, or progress in operating leverage. Consistent improvement in margins. Let's call it. About 23%. SG&A did increase though. Interesting. Okay, income statement. How about their sales? So we're at 23 now, let's take a look at annual. Okay, so stayed in the 23-24 region. Revenues increased substantially since 2022. Interesting. Gross profit doubling. Interesting. Okay, let's take a look at enterprise value. So probably operating leverage due to increase in revenues, doubling. That makes sense. Enterprise value. Market cap. Net cash 1.9. On this one, 17 million. Wow. Okay, so enterprise value has increased substantially since 2023. Yeah. Interesting. PE has also improved. Okay, let's take a look. Egg times something, breaking the mold of lifestyle with Tamago Tech. Tamago Tech. We're applying the potential of liquid eggs to various fields through egg times something equals Tamago Tech. Egg times food semiconductor. What? Liquid egg. Egg times eggshells. Egg times powder. Appetite. Egg white protein. What? Supporting Japan's food infrastructure through sustainable supply. We transform the equivalent of 1.3 billion fresh, safe eggs per year into liquid eggs, a food semiconductor, and support Japan's food infrastructure through sustainable supply. The Fuji's Industries liquid eggs are made into a variety of foods, including bread, sweets, mayonnaise, frozen foods, and play an important role in Japan's rich diet. 1.3 billion eggs a year. Fuji Sanyo has 3 major business areas. For nearly half a century since its founding, Fuji Sanyo has been committed to ensuring a stable supply of eggs, a high-quality protein source through its liquid egg business. Furthermore, the company continues to explore the potential of eggs, leveraging its proprietary technology to launch Tamago Tech, aiming to further growth and contribution to society. Furthermore, its seasoning business, Nippon Kako Foods, has specialized in development and manufacture of powdered seasoning since its founding in 1960. Provides powdered and granular seasonings used in a variety of foods, placing top priority on quality and safety. Furthermore, its organic e-commerce business, Horizon Farms, sells free-range organic foods on its e-commerce website, providing health-conscious and ethical consumers with new food options. Liquid egg business. I'm most confused about this one, so let's take a look. Now it says 1.2 billion eggs right here. Okay, in the form of liquid eggs. Okay. I see. We crack eggs, process them into liquid eggs and frozen eggs, which are easy to use, and sell them to confectionery and bread manufacturers, frozen food manufacturers, and the restaurant industry. Egg processed products, processed eggs. We sell egg-based foods such as boiled eggs and chawanmushi-based liquid egg plus seasoning to the restaurant and delicate industries. I wonder if it's because that way restaurants don't have to crack their eggs. It's interesting because in a lot of YouTube videos I see of restaurants in Japan cooking, I haven't really seen companies or like chefs not have to crack eggs. So I wonder if it's yeah, it has to be for like manufacturers where like they want to save time to have to hire employees to manually crack eggs. So it makes sense for like a bread manufacturer. That makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense for frozen food manufacturer, right? If it's like they're making egg fried rice, then they just pour the liquid eggs. That makes a lot of sense. I personally haven't seen many chefs actually order this, but we'll see. We sell egg-based foods such as boiled eggs and chawanmushi to restaurants and industries. Okay, sustain. Oh, I should change the ticker. For Fuji Sengyo. Nice. Done. Okay. Okay, so they're saying that they have a unique nationwide procurement system that combines stable egg purchasing with flexible purchasing that adjusts to supply and demand in response to trends in egg production and consumption. So this does that probably means that they don't actually farm their own like they don't like farm their own eggs. They probably just buy them from farms. So it means they're like a middleman. So they do the processing. They don't really do the processing, logistics, and the purchasing, but they don't do the farming, I guess, of it. Raw egg materials collected from various locations are inspected using measuring equipment to check freshness and ensure they meet the acceptance standards, and the results are entered into production management system. Refrigerated storage. Delivered raw egg ingredients are stored in dedicated raw material refrigerated at 8 degrees or below. The eggs are used for products that are separated through thorough inventory management. Input. The raw eggs are washed to remove any dust or bacteria. Wow, breaking and separating eggs. I want to see how that's actually done. We have introduced a high-speed egg cracking machine, which has simplified and accelerated the process. In addition, the new egg cracking machine uses a scanner to automatically control the separation of egg yolks and egg whites. Interesting. Filtration. Small pieces of eggshell that gets mixed in during the egg cracking process are removed using a filter. Oh, okay. Sterilization. We have introduced a continuous sterilizer with a sterilization capacity of 1,000 to 6,000 liters per hour. Pasteurization is performed at the appropriate temperature, and that is automatically recorded, allowing us to produce safe and uniform liquid eggs without compromising quality. Storage. I'm curious how that actually happens. After sterilization, the liquid eggs are rapidly cooled to 0 to -2 degrees using ice-based cooling liquid, then stored in storage tanks by type. The closed system prevents the products from coming into contact with air, preventing the introduction of bacteria. The products are quickly and acceleratedly filled and measured using state-of-the-art filling machines and then sealed using a heat sealer. That's where the eggs. The finished liquid eggs and frozen eggs are packed into special containers and immediately transferred to the product refrigerator. That looks very unappetizing. I don't know. Interesting. What other things do they have? So liquid egg business. Seasoning business and an organic e-commerce business. I might as well open these two. A pioneer in powdered seasonings. Challenge exploration. Okay, we don't care about that. So pork, chicken, beef, squid, shrimp, sea bream, others. Okay. Okay, extrusion granulation process. The rotating blades push the material through the screen and turn it into granules. Fine granulation processing. The fluidized powder is bound with a spray liquid to form fine granules. High meat manufacturing method. The material alone or the main material is mixed with a binder, formed, dried, and turned into powder. Roasted almonds, pork powder. I think this is probably used for broth. If I remember like animal-free soup. Interesting. Like seasoning and for broth probably. Okay. Now let's take a look at the actual valuation. Let's take a look. The company. Where is that? Menu. Where's the IR? Where is your IR? Okay, first quarter, fiscal year. Okay, I'm going to quickly download these two filings. Welcome to the chat. I see a few of you are with us today. How are you guys doing? I am currently just translating the document, so feel free to ask any questions or you know, any new Japanese stocks you guys have looked at. Okay, we have Q1 now, and then now on to fiscal year. Okay. Oops. I got the dates wrong for these two. These are different filings. Okay. That's okay. I just have them mixed up, but that's okay. It just means one is Q1 and one is the other one. But that's okay. I can change them later. Yeah, I lost the date. Something's not right. What? What? Oops. I messed up. Oh, both of them are. Hold on. Oops. My bad. I didn't open Q1. Oh, that's a blunder. Okay. It's okay. We'll redo it. No one's in the chat. I'm all by myself. Okay, let's see. Nice. Outperformance in Q1. Very good performance in Q1. All right, we have the information. Nice. So real station share price has been 2356, 2356, and most recent shares is 8.345370, 0.099251, so 19 billion market cap. Is that just in line with what is presented here? Correct. Okay. $67, 2.8%. Cash balance has increased. Nothing else? Okay, I just want to get a sense of their assets here. So 6 billion assets, knowledge intangibles, and a few investment securities. Okay, short-term borrowings. Oh, quite a bit. So have some debt. Okay, 1.7 times book. And then intangibles. Oh, 2025 is really good. And then what are they forecasting for here? 47,771, 689, 679, 27. CFO was 0. Decrease in inventory. Hey, Brandon Hudson. I sadly do not have a opinion on that stock. That U.S. stock? Yeah, probably Chewy. Yeah. Unfortunately, I do not have a view or perspective on that company. My apologies. Is it currently undervalued? Do you have an investment thesis you would like to share? Large capex recently. Let's see. Expenditure for investment security, intangibles, low intangibles. Brandon Hudson, I look at fundamentals primarily. I only look at charts when I'm trying to buy the stock and when I'm trying to exit the stock, which is very rare. So I only look at the charts to figure out what a good entry point is. Yeah. So no, I don't really do technical analysis for trading. So I don't really trade. It's more long-term investing. Yeah. Do they have any analyst coverage? Let's see. No. Okay, let's take a look at the cash flow statement. Let's take a look at historical depreciation over here. Okay, recently it's gone up. They also spent quite a bit more on capex recently, so it makes sense. Capex is periods of high capex and periods of low capex. So, okay, so 1.2, 2.5, 2.7, 2.9, 3.2, 3.4, 3.7, 4.1, 4.8. So around 480 mil on average a year. Let's just call it that. DNA is currently at 543. Why don't we do 500? This should be fine. So based on the valuation multiples, it's a couple things to factor in. So this isn't as cheap as some of the things that we looked at in previous streams, but keep in mind that this is an egg company, right? So I'm pretty sure its sales are pretty reoccurring, right? It seems like they are only a kind of a middleman in terms of the processing. So they just crack the eggs. That's pretty much all they're doing, cracking the eggs, packaging them, and distributing to restaurants so that they don't need to crack the eggs themselves. So in that regard, multiples are pretty decent for something that's higher quality. They have good ROE, PE is reasonable. The question is, are we in a state where essentially a lot more restaurants would rather not crack their own eggs and then have this company do it for them? If that's the case, their revenues could continue to increase within Japan, and which is what we're seeing. We're seeing the revenues go up. Of course, the price of eggs is also an input, so that could. I'm very curious how they're able to generate. Potentially they buy eggs on a larger discount. Yeah, so the higher their sale, okay, that makes sense. So the more eggs they order, the more operating leverage they have. So yeah, lower their costs. Even if they keep the prices the same, the procurement is lower. 6.5 times EV/EBIT. How do they expand? Can they expand their factories? Can they expand their volume? 4.8. I don't really have thoughts on AI stocks. Yeah. Okay. So what we want to determine right now is where is revenue headed? In Japan? This is multifaceted. So they also sell liquid eggs and they sell frozen eggs, right? So if these products, like, okay, they're selling also to food manufacturers, so I have to look at the actual breakdown of where their sales goes to, right? Because if it's going towards food manufacturers, right? So people who are trying to spend less, right? So if rates go down, then people are more likely to not put their money in the bank. So they're more propensity to spend more. More propensity to spend more means there's more demand for things like restaurants, right? And if that is true, they're eating out. Then if they sell more to restaurants, that's good for the company. But if more of their sales goes to frozen food manufacturers, then that might not be as good because then people aren't saving their money. They're not they're not they're staying indoors, right, and eating frozen food. So it really depends on what their mix is. But likely they mainly distribute to restaurants, I would say, mainly. Um, yeah, revenue likely to go up. But this is like a new, it feels like it's a newer service. I'm just interested in why there's demand for something like this because this is completely new to me. I didn't know people paid a company to crack eggs. Like literally, like that. This is a new business model I've seen. I've never seen it before. I don't know if this is standard or not, but yeah. Let me see if there's a. I would like to see if there is a investor presentation because that would be interesting. One thing that I found is interesting is like recently the companies I've looked at don't provide investment presentation. This is kind of interesting. Like the last few companies I looked at have no investment presentation or whatsoever. It's kind of interesting. Yeah, is that what happened to people doing IPs? Like what the? I like investor presentations because they're very visual and more enjoyable to read. Huh. I'll just look at what the English filing says first about the company, and then I will go from there. So let's take a look at the. Oh, they acquired a company. Acquired Horizon Farms, processing and purchasing and sale of organic and natural foods, but focusing on strengthening its existing business. So, group is working to expand its business domains and improve its corporate value through M&A. Horizon Farms carefully selects and imports only organic, additive-free, all-natural foods from small farms around the world, and offers new food options to health-conscious and ethically conscious customers through sales primarily through its own e-commerce website. The organic food and e-commerce fields are expected to continue to grow, and we believe that expanding our business domains as a new pillar of business, following our liquid egg and seasoning businesses, will lead to further enhancement of our group's corporate value by leveraging Horizon Farm's high level of e-commerce know-how and creating synergies with our existing e-commerce business. Okay, when was this? July 1st. Wait, hold on. Oh, happened between July 1st and March 31st. For 592 million. That's not a big acquisition. Pretty small. $19 billion company. 190 mil. Yeah, this is not a expensive acquisition. Liquid egg business, seasoning business. Okay, there's no breakdown from liquid egg business. Organic e-commerce business. Seasoning business is a very small segment, looks like. And then after the acquisition, I wonder if the idea is because they have distribution for the liquid eggs that they can kind of there's some synergies, let's call it, in terms of distribution. Maybe, who knows? Um, I guess because they also ship these products, these liquid eggs to restaurants, that is the same supply chain. So if someone wants something organic from a different country, it does make sense. So I can see the potential here a little bit. 23, 675. They don't have other breakdowns. Oh, they do. Okay, so liquid egg, frozen eggs. Okay, liquid eggs would be fresh. So liquid eggs, frozen eggs, egg processed products. That was the dashi. Other egg related products. Okay, so mainly liquid eggs. Interesting. Hey Brandon, appreciate you popping in. Was it the YouTube algo? Thanks for popping in. I really appreciate it. Um, yeah, so essentially what I do, just a short introduction. I run a Substack called Continuous Compounding. Okay, and I do. I'm pretty global, but somehow because of my fan base, I've kind of focused more on Japanese stocks, and I've found a lot of great opportunities in Japan. So if you want an overview of what I've covered in the past, it's I have a lot of previous stocks and current stocks that I've written on the directory. You can have a look. My hit rate is quite impressive. Um, yeah, nice, nice. Yeah, appreciate. I'm very happy that the algo actually worked in my favor for once and has pitched you to me. I'm very happy about that. I'm happy that I was able to actually generate a viewer, so that's pretty awesome. It must mean that you enjoy investment content, so I'm very appreciative of you joining in and contributing to the discussion. But yeah, I look at a lot of, I would say, based on my background, I have a lot of experience with consumer companies, look at casino and gambling. I look at tobacco companies, not so much nowadays, but I used to. But yeah, I enjoy a lot of consumer companies, looking at those because I myself am a consumer. So when I find a consumer company, it's much easier for me to. It's more interesting to me because I can actually interact with the business, see how it actually runs, and figure things out that most people overlook. So yeah, that's how I've done well in a lot of my stock pitches. So yeah, if you want an example of my work, you can definitely check this out. Yeah, if you want to want to see the level of quality I put in, you can probably look at Fast Business Japan. This one used to be a paid sub post. Now it's free. You can have a look at this one. Yeah, for you is pretty good too. Although right now it's currently not as great as before. Yeah, this one, yeah, you can take a look at Fast Business Japan. But yeah, I take a look at a lot of Japanese stocks. So if you invest internationally as well, you can definitely subscribe, and yeah, you'll see a lot of Japanese related stocks. Yeah. Yeah, I also have a Twitter too. So if you want to follow me on Twitter, yes, this is my Twitter. Compounding up is my tag. Yeah, 2.9K followers, and trying to grow my YouTube following base. So yeah, please subscribe. Yeah, but no, today essentially I just basically filtered for consumer staples today, or 2 days ago, and I'm just going through that list, and I'm just going through stocks that I ranked based off of the list it produced, based off some just valuation level screening. And Ifuji Sangyo was third on the list in terms of rank, and so I'm just like going through them. to figure out, are these stocks worth performing additional research beyond an initial impression and initial valuation. So yeah, this is a idea gen stream where I'm just like, surface level looking at these companies to see if there's potential for additional research. Yeah, yeah. I don't just look at food industries or consumer staple stocks. No, no. I like to find things that are undervalued, and if it's not in my circle of competence, I let the return potential dictate what I try to expand my circle of competence in. That's how I would put it. Yeah. What the fuck is this? In addition, the solar power generation business, which was previously an other, has been separated and recorded as the liquid egg business. What the fuck? And seasoning business, as it no longer makes sense to distinguish it as a segment. How does that make any sense? The solar power generation business is so small that you put it in the liquid egg business. What? Let me double check if that translation is actually true. That doesn't make much sense to me. Let's see, 20. That sounds awfully stupid. Let me just double check that makes sense. 17, page 17. Use ChatGPT to convert this. Here's the English translation. Okay, so let's see. Accordingly, the reporting segments have been changed from the previous liquid egg, seasoning, and others to liquid egg, seasoning, and organic e-commerce. In addition, since the significance of identifying the solar power generation business, which had previously been included under others as a separate segment, has diminished, we have changed the reporting to allocate it between the liquid egg and the what? You're not only gonna not just put it in one, you're gonna make it in between two segments. Okay, that makes so much sense. Nice, awesome, thank you. Brandon said, dope content, man. It's late for me, but you got my sub. We'll check out tomorrow. For sure. Yeah, no, thank you. Thanks for checking in. I always do a small recap at the end of each live stream, so if you want to check it out tomorrow, just open the video and just go to the last 5 to 10 minutes, and you should see a recap. Yeah, and yeah, thank you, thank you, thank you. Please join me in the future, and thanks for the engagement and the support. Yeah, and follow me on Twitter as well. Yeah, and on Substack. Yeah, follow me on Substack. Yeah, so let's take a look at the commentary from the company. Let's see. The group conducts business activities based on three pillars: liquid egg business, the seasoning business, and the organic e-commerce business. The liquid egg business, the seasoning business, and okay, there's three bit. Okay, the liquid egg business manufactures and sells commercial use liquid eggs and processed egg products. The seasoning business manufactures and sells commercial use powdered seasonings. Night fam, night. Jason, welcome back, Jason. Love to have you in the chat. Yeah. The sun is a liquid egg. CNL CFO. Okay. Okay, so let's see here. Following the acquisition shares of Horizon Farms, the group has partially revised its performance management classification. I want the commentary part. Okay, over here. The Japanese economy is in a situation that requires close monitoring due to factors such as rising prices due to inflation, a decrease in disposable income, take-home pay, due to increases in taxes and social insurance premiums, a declining population and the resulting labor shortage, and the impact of the economic policies of the new U.S. administration make efforts to raise wages. Okay. And the food industry, raw material and product prices continue to rise due to factors such as rising expenses and labor costs. Our group has been taking the following measures to achieve sustainable growth and improve our competitiveness. First, as part of our medium-term growth strategy, we have been actively investing in capital to increase our product supplies capacity in our main business. Okay, that's great. The liquid egg business with the goal of achieving 80,000 tons of liquid egg sales and 20% of the industry. Oh, wow. Wait, that means if you inverse that, you times by 5, that means currently the entire market is at 400,000 tons. That's good to know. That's worth noting. Our industry is 400,000 tons of liquid eggs by 2030. Okay. Furthermore, in order to strengthen our human capital by 2030, so that means I need by 2030. Furthermore, in order to strengthen our human capital management, we promote the recruitment of next gen. Okay, sure. Under these circumstances, the company's sales increased 4.3%. I'm just gonna read through this and then give you guys the main points. Interesting. So, a major affiliate in this segment is Fuji Sanyo in the egg industry to which this segment belongs. A subsidy program to encourage a reduction in egg production was implemented from April to July 2024. Subsequently, egg production volume decreased due to extreme heat of the summer, and new cases of avian influenza occurred mainly in Iwate, Chiba, and Aichi prefectures for autumn onwards, resulting in an extreme egg shortage and a rise in egg prices. In this segment, as many other of our products are linked to egg market prices, our sales and purchase amounts tend to be linked to egg market prices. Therefore, we strive to maximize profits by ensuring a certain amount or more of the difference between the selling price and the purchase price, and by securing sales volume. Sales volume of liquid eggs, an indicator of sales in the segment, increased 11.8% compared to the previous year. 65,000 tons, a record high. So they want 80,000, they're at 65,000. Okay. This is mainly due to the recovery of liquid egg sales volume to bakeries, confectionery manufacturers, which had decreased due to the impact of the frequent outbreak of avian influenza. An increase in liquid egg sales, and this might not be 2022. Let me just double check that. Give me one second. Let's see. This is page 4. This is page Oh, it was 2022. Okay. Okay, so basically, their sales basically fluctuate with the price of eggs as well. It's a lot about procurement, so how much eggs can they actually secure? Uh, yeah, and the current market price of eggs. Hmm. I'm very curious on how these contracts work. Like, do they hedge? Do they like secure like a certain price for a certain period of time, or do they just buy exactly at the market rate? You know what? I could honestly just look at their inventory. Let's see here. So Q1, we can look at their raw materials and supplies. So 542. Work in progress 118. Goods and products 1288. So they have some supply. Goods and products 1288. And they have how much sales in a year? This is a fiscal year. So they have what's the sales here? 27. 27 and 1288. 5 to 42. Goods and products ready to sell. 1288. So if we use 1288, right? So if we do this over 1288, it means they turn 20 times in a year. 20 times in a year over 65. Every 18 days they turn around inventory. How many days do eggs last in the fridge? How many days do eggs last after they are hatched? Sorry, after they are laid. By chicken, not hatched. What the fuck? It's dumb. Freshly laid chicken eggs actually keep longer than most people expect. It depends on whether they're washed, refrigerated, or left at room temperature. Room temperature, 1 to 2 weeks safely in a cool, dry place. Refrigerated 3 months or more. Okay. Washed, like in most commercial U.S. Canadian grocery stores. Washing removes the productive cuticle bloom, so refrigeration is required. Refrigerated 4 to 5 weeks after packing date. Sometimes up to 6 to 7 weeks if kept cold. Practical tips. Flow test. Place eggs in a bowl. Doesn't matter. Fuck that. In short, farm fresh unwashed eggs last 2 weeks unrefrigerated or 3 months refrigerated. Store bought washed eggs last 1 month refrigerated. Washed. Unwashed last 3 months. Oh, okay. Do you want me to? Okay, cool. Interesting. So, yeah, so they definitely have enough time to sell. Yeah, so they probably are just, instead of taking inventory risk, they just probably buy as they have demand. So I think I think they can probably just pass on the cost over to the restaurants. Did your tobacco work ever take you to reduce risk nicotine products? Curious if those will go mainstream. Yeah, so, hmm. So I haven't looked at tobacco industry in a while now. I would say in the last 2 years, I haven't really looked at them. Um, I just bought BTI, and the dividend yield was like 10%, I just held on. Saw a lot of good things with that company, but there's also things I didn't like. So, um, for a lot of people, traditional tobacco with that are non-reduced risk, that are full-on risk, let's call them. Those have really good profit margins, mainly because there's a huge barrier to entry to even enter the market. Um, so there's not going to be like, it's kind of like a sin stock. It's a sin stock, right? So you're not going to have many new entrants entering it, right? And it's going to be hard to compete on scale, right? So the great thing about tobacco companies that have a major full-on risk nicotine product is that the margins are very impressive, right? And they don't have to spend that much in terms of capex every single year or two, because there's no innovation in that full-on risk product, right? We're talking about real cigarettes right here. Um, and then what happened after that? After that, we had something called Juul, or you have let's call it vaping. Let's say vaping, all right? And then they had all these flavorings, and what they did in that period of time was essentially that they made the mistake of advertising and making the product too appealing to teenagers, right? And what happened when they did that was, yeah, you got a boom, and then that boom came a subsequent bust because no one wants teenagers or kids to smoke, right? It's a health hazard. Okay. So now what do we have? Now we're at a stage where, okay, we have to ensure we have to put these restrictions on these companies to ensure that they're not appealing to teenagers and kids, right? And you in the U.S. you have something called FDA approvals, right? So then what I saw during that period of time was you have British Tobacco Company, you have Altria, you have Philip Morris, you have these companies essentially applying for these reduced risk products. Now, I want to say 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, was when I looked at BTI, and I liked that they were increasing their exposure to these reduced risk products, like Zyn, right? Those type of products. Um, so it's basically you have these companies who are trying to innovate, but then they have like these FDA approvals. And then what I didn't like was that you have an entire aftermarket of illegal vapes, right? That don't have to follow the rules. That's what I didn't like about it. What I didn't like about it was like essentially like, okay, you have these big ass companies that have to follow the rules. They have to get approval. They have to go through these leaps and bounds. And then you have these companies from Shenzhen, China, or Malaysia, or where the heck they smuggle these products from, right? And they're sold, at least in Canada, they are sold in convenience stores. I generally think that I don't know how they can even do that. I think it's really stupid, especially the disposable vapes. The disposable vapes have a battery inside, right? So like, what if that thing flames up, right? I was like, this is a risk waiting to happen, right? Like if you have a thing where like they don't make the batteries properly, like for example, like Samsung had an S7, like a Note 7 curve or something that the battery just blew up, right? What if there is like a manufacturer defect, right? And then what would happen then, right? So you're competing against people who don't have to follow the rules. That's what I didn't like. Um, yeah, and then it wanted to expand internationally, but the thing is like, yeah, it just became a situation where I thought it was very complex, where the tobacco industry was heading. In one arm is they're very profitable, margins are very high, but another viewpoint is like how do they expand, right? So it seems like it's a diminishing industry where everyone's competing against each other for market share, um, and trying to innovate, but you're innovating in a dying industry where there is increased competition from people who don't follow the rules. So that's what I didn't like about it. So what I did to simplify all that analysis was like, okay, I'm gonna pick the one company that I think is doing decent in innovation, likely to potentially grab market share from the other competitors, and is offering me a really high ass dividend. So that was BTI at the time. So I have not looked at the industry much recently. I will say that. Yeah, yeah, there's a lot of hidden risks with vaping that people don't know. It's not well studied, right? And some people can develop like just what's it called, like asthma or whatever. Yeah, just yeah. It sounds like, oh, we're using vapor, so it's healthier than actual smoking. But then like because of the way it tastes, you might vape more now. You might think that vaping is a gate, to help you, quit tobacco, which has happened in some cases for some people. But like because it's so accessible and you don't really taste it, you could be vaping more. You can be like you just like it doesn't taste like smoke, right? So I've seen people in like public places, like literally just like just go under, just hide under, their jacket, let's say, and just puff it a few times, and but yeah, yeah. But yeah, now the valuation of BTI has gone up quite substantially. I don't know what their dividend yield is right now. What is their dividend yield? Let's take a look. BTI stock. BTI are spats basically. 5.44. Yeah, so before it was like 9 or 10% div yield. Now it's like a 5.44% yield. So right now I think it's pretty fairly valued. About P is like 30 times. Yeah, so no. Um, I think investor sentiment shifts a lot for these type of companies, so I wouldn't be surprised if you get another opportunity where this company drops back down in price, goes back to a smaller PE, and then also gives you a 10% div yield. In that scenario, you just go back in, right? But I think investor sentiment shifts quite drastically for these type of companies. Yeah. 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 Not a huge fan of vaping, but I don't mind other people vaping though. I just personally wouldn't do it myself. But, like my perspective is that trying to get too. Everyone has to live their life, right? Everyone has their own vices, right? Sometimes life gets really tough and hard, so people have their vices. Like I'm fine with people having vices. So to each their own. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Just ensure that after a period of stressor where like after a period of stress, and you have things under control, that you just don't continue your bad habits, right? Like I have my own bad habits too, right? Like I enjoy fried chicken, right? That's my vice. That's my vice. Fried chicken and beer is my vice, But I don't really overdo it anymore, so that's a good thing. Yeah. Okay, yeah. I don't want the stream to get too like hypothetical or life theory wise. So let's just go back, go back to the investment of this one. So it's interesting. So they have it seems like they have 20% or in between like 15 to 20% of the current market share at liquid eggs. I can just ask ChatGPT, what is the liquid egg market in Japan? What is the liquid egg market in Japan? What is the size in, what is it, tons of the liquid egg market in Japan? Japan's liquid egg market is between 400 to 500,000. Okay, so they're saying they want 20% of the market by 2030. That means I think it might be estimating because Japan is a declining population, so potentially the 400,000 tons is pretty stable, pretty stable. So they may just have 65,000 of the current 400,000. So if that's the case, they have around what 60,000 is 15%, right? So they have like 16, 17% of the market, is what they're saying. Yep. Let me take a look at the most recent Q1. See what they say. I know they say like, in the food industry, raw material and product prices continue to rise, right? But like the thing is like, I've observed how Japanese people kind of spend their money, and that they are pretty. They're a group that are very cost conscious, right? Like if milk goes up like 10 yen, people are very unhappy. I think in Japan there's like a bread company where they had to like sorry make a public apology for raising the price of their bread by 10 yen, even though they didn't change the price of it for over 10 years or something like that. Like examples like this, and egg is definitely used in bread. They have egg bread, they have milk bread. Yeah, that definitely uses egg. In their convenience stores, they have sandwiches, right? They have even boiled eggs, right? So I think that eggs are such a staple in Japanese people's everyday lives that I don't think they will cut it out too much. The only impact is in the scenarios where I think where the liquid eggs are used, which is essentially um, in commercial settings, right? So um, trying to think. Would a department store use liquid eggs? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. So yeah, so the food conscious people. So I don't think they don't sell separate eggs, right? So the most average consumer would just be buying their carton of eggs. I think what this company does is sell to these manufacturers that use it and use it in bulk. So let's say they make a egg fried rice, a frozen egg fried rice, for example, that you can just put in the microwave. That's still cheaper than going outside to eat, right? Hmm. There are also companies that make set meals too. They like, for example, there's also companies that make airline foods. So those airline companies would probably buy liquid eggs and using it to make like a bulk fried rice for all those bentos on, let's say, Japan Airlines, for example. Hmm. Yeah, I don't have conviction yet. I went down a hole and I don't know where I'm at. So I'm just gonna stop there, and until I get more data points, then I'll have more conviction. Yeah, it's interesting. I guess we could focus on mainly on bread. If we think about it only on bread. Yeah, where I was going with that is like if you go to Japan, right, you have sandwiches in the convenience store for like pretty cheap, like 300 yen, 400 yen, right? So I think that even if uh, you know, cost of living increases, people will still go to the convenience store. I think it's really part of the Japanese lifestyle to hit up a convenience store to grab a quick snack or grab a quick beer, grab a quick drink. Like even if, like, for example, okay, if you go to Don Quixote to buy beer, you save like maybe 25 cents, right? Maybe 50 cents, 50 yen, 25 yen, right? Then if you go to convenience store, most Japanese people will just hit up the convenience store instead of trying to save that marginal amount, right? So yeah, it depends on the customer, I guess. Yeah. In the egg industry, the frequent outbreak of influenza from October 24 to February 2025 has affected the market price of eggs, which continues to be high due to extreme shortage of eggs. Their main product of this segment is liquid egg, which is a semiconductor of food, and the sales and purchase price of approximately 80% of the total volume of products and raw materials are linked to the egg market price. Therefore, we aim to maximize profits by securing a certain amount or more difference between the sales price and the purchase price, and striving to secure sales volume. Sales volume of liquid eggs, which is the indicator of the business scale of this segment, increased 10.3% year over year, reaching a record high for the first quarter of the cumulative period. This is mainly due to an increase in orders to the company as a result of some cases of other liquid egg manufacturers restricting liquid egg supply due to shortage of eggs, mainly in eastern Japan, which led to an increase in sales volume of liquid eggs for use in bread and confectionery, as well as restaurants and frozen food. Okay, if I'm reading this correctly, I'm not sure if I am. Okay, they're saying that there's a lack of eggs, there's shortage of eggs. So, um, that has somehow led to an increase in sales of liquid eggs for use in bread and confectionery. I'm not drawing a link there at all. Wait one sec. So, page 4. Page 4. Do we have to open it? One sec. Sometimes this happens. Sometimes what it spits out doesn't make much sense, or that, or I'm just dumb. But we'll see. Let's see here. Page 4. Which paragraph I'm looking at? 1, 2, 3. Third paragraph. Okay, this does not look like anything in the other thing. 1. Okay, found it. Found the paragraph. Bro. Oops, I copied the wrong paragraph. Wow, this is a completely different translation. What the fuck? In the egg industry to which this segment belongs, from April to July 2024, the government implemented the subsidy program for extending the vacancy period in laying hen barns to encourage a reduction in egg production. Subsequently, in addition to reduced egg production caused by the extreme summer heat from autumn onward, frequent outbreaks of avian influenza happened, resulting in severe shortage of eggs and rise in market prices. Within the segment, many products are linked to the egg price of eggs. As a result, both net sales and purchase costs tend to move in tandem with the egg price. I missed something here. I definitely missed something here. What did I miss? This is very frustrating. Let's see. Page 1, page 2. One more paragraph down. I got the documents mixed up. That's why I fucked up. Sorry, guys. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. Okay, so what happened here was that there's a shortage of shell eggs in eastern Japan, which led some other liquid egg manufacturers to restrict supply. I think what that means, if I'm interpreting correctly, is that these liquid egg manufacturers could not output enough because there was restriction on shell eggs. So potentially the suppliers of shell eggs to these egg manufacturers was lower, which resulted in increased orders for this company because they do have a stable supply of shell eggs for their liquid eggs. Consequently, sales volume of liquid eggs rose not only for bread and confectionery manufacturers, but also for the restaurant industry and frozen food manufacturers. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, right? There could be a scenario where, for example, where the profit you can get from selling shell eggs is higher than selling liquid eggs, right? So why would I give you why me as a farm? Why would I give you a reduced price? Like, how do I put it? Let's say a liquid egg manufacturer usually can buy like 30% of your eggs, for example, right? But then because they're buying so much in bulk, they get a reduced price. But there's such a demand for shell eggs, they don't need to sell as much to liquid egg suppliers. I think that's what's happening here. Maybe potentially, if I'm interpreting this correctly, which is interesting. Hmm. Now I need to figure out how this company is going to expand. How do we get to 20%? I also don't know if their recent operating leverage is due to contracts where they secure the price of eggs, right? Because if that's the case, and after these contracts are over, then their operating leverage goes down, right? Hmm. And becomes more like a commodity business than a actual. Right? I want to figure out why it is they have these margins. I think that's very important. It doesn't seem that clear to me that that's the case. Eggs, frozen eggs, egg white proteins. Also important to look at the market for liquid eggs. Let me ask ChatGPT, who are the other QP? QP Mayo? Major listed company producing liquid eggs, frozen eggs, eggs processed to liquid egg, as part of the food service egg product segments. Foodie saying 2924. A leading independent liquid egg manufacturer, its business is heavily focused on liquid and frozen eggs. Yes, I would like you to do that. QP. Oh, I didn't know that QP was publicly traded. I wonder if there's what price ticker is this? 2809. Can I buy QP Mayo? Because I know the QP Mayo is pretty popular. Wow, okay. 20 times PE. Okay. February, April, 2.8. Increased by 1,200, 1,300. So 40% increase. That's wow. Amazing. What's profitability? I think, yeah, eggs are definitely using mayo, right? Gross profit margin increase, but SG&A also increase. Slight improvements. Growth multiples. I know QP mayo is used in okonomiyaki. So, more people eat okonomiyaki, the better it is for this company. If it is that company, let me just double check. Yeah, that company offers mayonnaise, dressing, baby food, and other products. Yeah, this should be that company. Pasta sauce, salads, nursing food, vinegar, liquid egg, frozen egg, dried egg, and egg processed foods, and jam and frozen fruit processed foods. Also provides fine chemical, including high hyaluronic acid and egg yolk lecithin. I think this is used in makeup, right? High hyaluronic acid. In addition, the company is involved in the processing and sales of fresh fruit, vegetables, planning, production, services for sales promotion. Production and sales of condiments, vinegar, bottled and canned. Okay. So condiments, a lot of condiments in food products. But is that worthy of 20 times though? Doesn't seem like it, but let's take a look at income statement. How have their revenues expanded over time? Revenues haven't gone anywhere. Why the fuck is this company trading for so much? What? They've done terribly. What the heck? What the hell? Hmm. Why is it that their price is so high? That doesn't make sense. Is it just because they make QP mayo? Double check. Yep, this is definitely the logo for QP mayo. So they have a product that is like a Coca-Cola equivalent brand. Very nice brand. Like this is like the go-to mayo in Japan. Also shipped overseas. You'll find it at T&T. Yeah, they do sauces, stuff like that. Yeah, I don't get it. Why is this a 20 times P? You know, at these margins, it doesn't tell me much unless we think like the sales hasn't expanded, right? This is interesting. I have seen QP mayo at Costco too. So unless there might be some like there might be some revenue uplift, maybe, but then it's dropped actually. It hasn't gone. Hmm. Okay, so a catalyst for this company could be if they were to make a product that they could sell, that is a branded product that can rival QP mayo. Doesn't have to be mayo. It could be like anything really. Just has to use eggs as an ingredient. So they're doing e-commerce to source organic ingredients for restaurants, which is another touch point for them. One thing I'm not sure about is like what is the minimum order for liquid eggs? Like what restaurants use liquid eggs? What type of companies like liquid eggs? And how can we utilize that connection with these restaurants to bolster our e-commerce website? Because you're basically an intermediary, which means the margins are really crap. But you're basically adding it onto your existing supply chain and distribution channels, which makes sense. So, hmm. I think this one requires. I think it's worth looking into more. Uh, yeah, it feels like a good business. I think it's going to continue growing if it can keep capturing market share. I just don't know why they're able to capture market share. So why have they captured market share? Right? Like, what is their what makes them superior? Right, so that's what I need to figure out for this company that I don't know at this given moment, but they're doing a good job. Good margins. Okay. So yeah, I would put this in the, well, it's hard to say. If there is nothing like technologically, superior about the company, and I figure out that the margin is mainly because of like some contracts in place for like the price that they procure eggs, and they don't have any pricing power. If they have pricing power, then it's probably A minus. If it's no pricing power, and this is kind of just a fortunate events for them, then probably B. So let's put this in 294, A minus right now. Yeah. Okay, it's been an hour and a half. I'm gonna take a break, and I'll be back in another, let's say, 30 minutes. Okay, so I'll come back, or let's say 10 before 10:45. Okay, let's say 10:45 is the time they come back. Okay, we are back. Okay, the next company we're looking at is Nitaka. Nitaka Household Products. 13 billion. 8 billion enterprise value, so lots of cash. 4.2 times EV/EBIT. Good margin 8.1 times, not bad. PE 7.2 times. 0.9 times price of book. Oh, nice. Not bad. 4465. Okay, so for a long period of time is trading within a range. 1800, 1600, 2500. So from the current price, got 15% upside to like this area. What do they do? So Nitaka manufactures and sells commercial detergents, cleaning agents, disinfectants, and bleach products in Japan. Company also manufactures and sells solid fuels, fuel additives, quasi-drugs, and cosmetic materials. In addition, it engages in provision of hygiene management support services. The company was formerly known as Nitaka Chemical and changed its name to Nitaka in 2002. That's fine. Let's take a look at revenue growth. Okay, let's see here. Revenues has increased 50% in the last 9 years. Operating income at one point increased quite substantially. Now it's dropped down, so probably something to do with costs. See a little profitability. One point it had 13%. I guess during COVID, as cleaning products wise would be very good because of COVID. So they probably had some period. Yeah, they probably did particularly well during COVID for sure. But then this gross profit margins are at an all-time low. SG&A has improved, but net income is still very low. This company, 4.4 billion net cash. Let's see, what's the recent net cash? 4.3, 4.3, 13. Let's call it 9 billion enterprise value. Price of book 0.9 times. This trade is usually between 0.9, 0.8, 0.1, 0.2. Interesting. It's a loud ass cough. What the fuck? PE. PE is low now. So essentially, if there's ever another like COVID type of thing happening, then this company would be a COVID beneficiary for sure. So we want to think about themed investments. Yeah. Look at 10 years. Damn, it went up to like 6,000, sorry. Yeah. 0.3, COVID happening, boom, up, and then 3x. And it stayed pretty in a range bound pretty much. So dividend yield, 3.5%. Dishwashing detergent, disinfectant, oil stain cleaning agent. hand disinfection, detergent for cleaning in stores, alcohol-based preparations, pots, pans. Interesting. So the English IR. Oh, they have an entire video. Don't need the video. Okay. That's not in Japanese. Maybe they don't have I guess everything is only in English. Sorry, only in Japanese. Okay, that's fine. Oh, they have English. Okay. Nice. Do they have Q1 then? July, August, September. When does it end? Year ends May 31st, July 14th, so May 31st. End of June, end of July, end of August, end of August. Okay, so the Q1's probably coming out soon. Okay, that makes sense that this is the most recent information. Okay, we can use this. Right, change the ticker here. Dividend yield. Oh, they lowered it. Interesting. 3.5%. They lowered the dividend yield. Just looking at their assets. 0.9 times price of book. What is the forecast? Growth in sales, decline in margins. Yeah, pretty low margin business. Probably too small to have any honest coverage. Yeah. Cash flow statement. Let's take a look. Huh. See some periods of high capex, some periods of low capex. So we're currently in a period of low capex. 1.1, 1.7, 2.4. 3.7, 4.4, 5.1, 5.7, 6. Call it 6. 6. Oh, an average 600. Wow. This company might be in the too hard pile because I don't know much about like cleaners, disinfectants, and that kind of stuff. Doesn't seem that undervalued, I would say. Volatile. I'll give it a shot. I'll read the IP, and that's about it. Yeah, if we read the IP and nothing really pops out to us as being interesting, then that's it. Okay, let's see. Detergent went up. Sanitary services went up. Subsidiary went up. Operating profits, somehow this stuff didn't get improved upon. Didn't get translated. Ethanol prices. Chemical business, healthcare business. So they have healthcare business is higher margin. Looks like that one's like 16-17% segment profit margin. Whereas chemical business is around like 5 to 7%. Okay, restaurant market remains strong and detergent sales increase, so detergents for restaurants. Detergents that address the labor shortage issue are particularly popular. What are those? Oh, they have overseas sales too. Domestic e-commerce sales declined due to lackluster sales. They sell on e-commerce? Interesting. So they can't find something to clean. Restaurants can't find people to clean. So then, for cleaning large areas of floors, promoting efficiency proposals, they adopted whatever this technology is for food factories, restaurants. Healthcare business topics. Italy and Bulgaria, fermented plant extract supplements now on sale. Collagen drinks. Dr. Ohhira's OMX 12 Plus. No idea what that is. Collagen drinks. Chemical business. Restaurants and accommodation facilities are operating steadily due to improvements in employment and income environments. Raw material costs remain high. So I guess potentially restaurants and hotels buy their stuff. Healthcare business. Domestic market has bottomed out. Overseas market remains strong due to growing health consciousness. Product categories. Detergents and cleaning agents increase. Infection control products slight increase. Solid fuel slight increase. Lactic acid bacteria fermented foods. Food hygiene consulting. Hmm. Okay, so their plan is to expand overseas because 96% is domestic. 6% of their sales are from healthcare business, so they want to further expand the segment. And most of their sales are to restaurants. So let's see. Eating out, ryokan, which is hotels, or other food. So they want to expand beyond restaurants. Yeah. Probably into more like accommodation, probably. Operating profit of over 100 billion, so 1.8. So they want 1.8 billion yen. Maybe yeah, right now. I mean, they've kind of hit that already, right? So yeah, they've already hit that. So now they're aiming for 4 billion yen. So 4 billion yen. Companies at 13 billion enterprise value. Sorry, market cap. 8 billion market cap. Oh, 8 billion enterprise value. So we're saying that this can achieve 2035 vision. 4 billion. So you need 10 years to double operating profit. Active investment in M&A to strengthen the business. DOE, flexible share buybacks. Sounds good. I think this is a little. Yeah, I don't see much potential here. This is more like a B plus type thing. So I'm just gonna move on. I don't see how their revenues are gonna grow substantially and leading to operating leverage. Don't really see it. Okay, next business. I've looked at that. Wako Shokuhin. Food products. 6 times EV/EBIT. 9 times EBIT margins. 3.5 times EBITDA. 7.4 times PE. 0.9 times price book. Okay, 2813. Let's go. Fuji was to be analyzed. And then Yutaka was. I think it's probably one of those that you need further research. Like they say they're going to expand into healthcare, but like, and overseas, like I have no conviction on that based off of what I know. Wako Shokuhin. Manufactures and sells soups and natural extracts in Japan. Internationally, the company offers ramen soups and acts as the only manufacturer of various seasonings, primarily of ramen soup. It sells its products through convenience stores, restaurants. Oh, that's very interesting. And other industries. The company was incorporated in 1964 and headquartered in Otaru. That's a very interesting business. Huh. Interesting. Oh, revenues have increased substantially. Operating income has also substantially increased, which is nice. What's profitability like? Oh, lots of operating leverage. Gross profit has increased. SG&A has declined substantially, so definitely some scale here. Wow, interesting. How's it done last 12 months? 10%. SG&A remains low. Gross profit remains high. Oh, not bad. And innately, what's going on in my head right now is essentially if they're making ramen soups from scratch and selling it to convenience stores, for example, which can be pre-packaged into, because in convenience stores in Japan you can buy, let's say soba, right? You also buy ramen, so I guess you have a portion for soup that you can microwave, and a portion for the noodles, and you microwave the ramen and you pour the noodles all over top. I guess is the idea. So they mass produce them. 10 times P, so what, 6 times, 10 times. How's the share price made again? Wow. 1,000 yen to 7,000 yen. Wow. Back down to 3,000. 3,000. Enterprise value around 8. So price has gone down. Market cap has gone down. Interesting. Looks like was a high flyer with lots of promise, and now it's re-rated. Let's try to figure out why it's re-rated. Usually, it's when the forecast isn't as promising. The nice thing is though, it's a taste, right? So the soup is a taste. So if they do a good job with the soup, then it's like overseas expansion. Yeah, you can definitely adopt this to like overseas, like. It's like a cat. Let's say it's like a cafeteria in a university or school or something like that, and you just send over your pre-made soup, and then they just get the cafeteria staff to put in ramen inside the broth. That could work. Hmm. What's the market cap? 8 billion market cap. Still pretty small. Let's change the ticker. We're now looking at Wako Shokuhin. Okay. I'm currently translating. Give me 1 second. Okay. Wait, did I download the right thing? Hold on a sec. I did, right? Oh, okay, I did. Good. That's alright. Three, two, three, five. Lower cash balance. 14 billion assets. 5 billion tangible assets. No breakdown of investments and other assets. Guess he would zero then. Put 9 times price book. 86 dividend. Okay. 17. Okay. Did they change the forecast? No. It's basically nothing. What? Oh, read that wrong. Read that completely wrong. They do buy investment securities. pretty stagnant. Also pretty stable over here. Yeah, on average 500. Still on average 500. Okay, so let's see here. Decent margins. Somehow it declined again. I guess costs, yeah, costs of everything across the board, anything food related has gone up in price. So we see across the board of the last couple of companies we looked at that are food related, eggs, whether it be eggs or whatever, the price of the raw ingredients have increased. So that has reduced margins a little bit, but pretty cheap. Okay, this is what I want to figure out. So ramen, anything that has to do with broth has a subjective culinary artistic aspect to it, right? Which means the taste, like it's hard to replicate certain tastes, right? So I want to figure out if they're how good their like broth is, and whether that is what's driving the stickiness, right, and the revenue growth for the company. Like, if they make a great broth and people enjoy their broth, right, and you can access it at convenience stores or whatnot, then that's a great thing. Yeah, and internationally too, right? So if you're good for Japan market, right, like the ramen will be good for other markets too, because yeah, but if your soup is not good in Japan, then it's not good. Then I mean, actually that's not true because Uncle Tetsu's isn't that great in Japan, but somehow it's pretty popular outside of Japan. Yeah. Okay, we'll try to figure that out. Do they have presentations? Can someone give me a presentation to look at? Jesus. It's so boring just looking at financial statements with like one page of, oh, thank you, yeah, you're broth, bro. Give me something interesting to look at. Okay, let me translate this. Like, do you want me to fall asleep looking in your filing? Okay, with the blessings of Hokkaido, soup, sauce, and natural extracts. Give me one second, guys. My seat needs to be adjusted. One second. Okay, let's see here. Gross profit drastically declined, probably due to cause. Oh, they have U.S. sales too. Wow. Oh, thousands of dollars and then Japanese yen. Interesting. So that's in billions of yen, thousands of dollars. So that's what is that? That's 2 million. 2 million yen would be 200 million. three. So that would be two. Sorry, that would be close to, sorry, 400. Wait, hold on. 1.5, right? 300, 300, 300. Let's call it roughly 300. So that's like 300 million yen, and this is 1 million yen. So currently, U.S. sales is like 30% of Japanese sales. Interesting. Ready-made meals and home-cooked meals did not grow as much as usual. Yeah, so increase in raw material prices, correct? Yes. Increased personnel costs resulting in increase in employee base salaries and increased expenses accompanying the expansion of overseas business. Makes sense. Demand for new entrants offering ramen in North American restaurant market remains strong. Meanwhile, sales growth existing restaurants at some existing restaurant clients has slowed due to a shift in customers to ready-made meals. As a result of these factors, sales decreased compared to previous fiscal year. The sales structure has been strengthened in response to the expansion of customer bases in both regions and business types. Labor costs have also increased compared to the previous fiscal year, as production staff have also been increased, while profitability improved due to expansion of highly profitable new customer bases. I don't know who their U.S. customers are though. You have to like break that down for me. Who are these? Private brand and public brand. Under customers brand name. Interesting. So they are the someone else is sourcing their product but putting their name on it. Interesting. I think this one's interesting. I think this one's interesting, and there could be angle. There could be an angle, interesting angle here. We just need to unravel it and figure out what this company truly does. But yeah, I think this one's interesting. I definitely see more potential here because there's U.S. growth potential. You're selling a product that has a lot of yeah, a lot of growth potential because ramen is well received in the U.S. and Canada and other countries. So yeah, if they can create a business model, something that works, that can continue to expand domestically and expand overseas, right? This company can be worth like way more than this, right? Like this is cheap for that type of growth opportunity, right? And that's probably why the company at one point traded as high as it did in the 6,000, 7,000 range. So I think that's yeah. We just have to look at it, and it's trading at 0.9 times book. So I think definitely this is something we can look into. So 2813, definitely. I think that's something good to look into. All right. Okay, guys. So yeah, my right jaw is not feeling that well. So yeah, I think I yawned a few days ago, and I think I just strained it somehow. So like, kind of talking right now is a little difficult. Um, so I'm just gonna end the stream here. And thanks for joining in. And yeah, so I'm gonna recap quickly 2813. So what I like about 2813 is that they make ramen, they do seasonings, and they trade pretty cheaply. Dividend could be higher. 0.9 times book. Used to be rated at around over 6,000. So like investor sentiment right now has changed to bring it back down to earth. So it probably had really high growth potential, and now it's trading at, I want to say, very fair multiples, right? So if we get in and the investor sentiment changes again, the narrative flips again, and they realize the growth potential of this company, then they could re-rate to 6,000. Like very easy story, right? So whereas some of the other companies I looked at, it trades within a band, right? It's cheap, but then it's not going to go anywhere. There's no path to grow. At least here, you can grow in the U.S., in Japan domestically. and it's about making a good broth, right? So if they make a good broth, like that's all that really matters, honestly. And then it's who they sell it to, how they distribute it, yada yada yada. So there's definitely a lot of there could be something here. We just need to unravel it. So that's Kazuhiro Foods, and another company we looked at was Ifuji Sango. So they do liquid eggs, right? Which is interesting, and their objective is to increase their market share in terms of liquid eggs. I need to figure out whether they have some type of proprietary technology in cracking eggs. What has allowed them to grow? What has allowed them to grow as drastically as they did? What has allowed them to expand their EBIT margins, right? And how are they going to get on the path of being able to carve out an additional 5% market share in their company? So yeah, that's what's looking for this one. But this company is yeah, trades above price of book, but it seems like if it has growth opportunities, it is growing revenues. If it is able to continue its current revenue growth trajectory while maintaining these margins or continuing to have operating leverage, then it shouldn't be trading at these levels, right? Because it can continue to allocate cash into capex to further expand its production and manufacturing. So yeah, that's what I like about this company. So yeah, these are the two companies we found today that were quite interesting. And yeah, thanks for tuning in. And if you haven't, remember to subscribe and follow me on my Substack and on